every one of our experts, we always ask them for a 3 feet from gold story. Now, I know I don't have to run over Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and Are You Darby and his uncle with you, but we were hoping you'd have a story of where you faced seemingly insurmountable obstacles, but you were, with perseverance and belief, you were able to push through.
Well, myriad stories in life. Uh, Heck, my former wife is an attorney. And I used to say, you know, honey, I'd hate to go up against you because you're really a good attorney. One day I was in her office and she hands me divorce papers. That was a challenge. And quite frankly, when I was asking people for advice on divorce attorneys, someone said to me, oh, go to this woman. She'll tear her apart. And she's vicious. That's not my goal here. The fact that the marriage failed doesn't mean that she's a bad person or I'm a bad person. And quite frankly, she and I negotiated a divorce. All we had was her attorney and my attorney look over the paperwork to make sure that what we got was quite viable. And the other side of it is we're still friendly today. We live in a small town. We live in Towson, New Mexico. It's 5,000 people. And we're still friendly. Was at a party at her house a couple of weeks ago. So what looked like a serious adversarial opportunity, I mean, in the moment it was really nasty, but it shifted in a heartbeat. And again, I go back to a default. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. So what's next? What's the opportunity? That's one. In business, many, many years ago when I was electronics engineer, the place went out of business. Well, what happened was, quite frankly, I was in chiropractic school. And I was now able to go work full-time as a chiropractor, still in school, as an intern in somebody's office. Could have been devastating, all of a sudden out of a job and out of revenue. So it's how we take the challenges or the gifts in life and move to next so we can make it happen in a much more positive perspective. Does that answer that question for you?
Yes, somewhat. What we like to focus on is, as you know, that stories are rich and touch people in their heart. And we look for stories of something that's happened to you in your life, where somebody that might be watching this, the takeaway is, wow, Richard was able to push through that obstacle. Now, if he was able to push through that obstacle, I'm sure I could push through my obstacle. And one in particular, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, is one that you and I had spoken about probably about 3 months ago, I guess, 4 months ago, when you were talking to me about first looking at CEO space and heading over to CEO space, when you were talking to me about the abundant financial debt you had before you went, and then people believed in you and you believed in yourself and you overcame it all. And I believe it was just after you left the chiropractic field, was it not?
Well, what happened was I had heard about this organization, as you mentioned, CEO Space, where we're in our third decade, Dan, of growing businesses, from launching Chicken Soup for the Soul over 20 years to helping people raise billions of dollars, launching Lisa Nichols and some household names. And I wanted to attend the program. I had to get out of my own way. I was, as you say, very deeply in debt. And what I did is I got into a program that we offer through this organization where we help people raise capital. Most people, in my experience, have a less than healthy relationship with money in their lives. This program called Fund Busting, Raising Funds, with a 98% success rate, helps people shift what's up here. Again, we talk about story. We help people move through a story so that they can get into what works for them and have people invest in them. And I did that. And as my friend Tony Robbins says, I say this not to impress you, but to impress upon you. I was famous at the time. I was on a morning television talk show once a month, radio shows, San Diego Tribune, Los Angeles Times, feature stories with color pictures, and in debt. You see, my BS degree in business management was just that. It was BS. I kind of forgot that when the money comes in, it's got to stop in the middle before it goes out. So my debt load was so unreasonable, I could not get to CEO space. Well, through this coaching, I got through my stuff, and I had a patient, a practice member, who actually invested in me, which allowed me to go to CEO space and transform my whole life. because, excuse me, that's what we do through CEO Space. So it was a time when there was an opportunity that looked like it was not attainable. And then with some work and perseverance and a change in consciousness, right through it.